Greetings and welcome to Agents of Change. I'm Dr. John and I am the fitness psychologist. Excited to be back here for another episode, and I've got a great show for you today. And I'm going to go over a little bit of housekeeping first, and then we're going to dive in. It's going to be fairly short, but it's going to be a great concept for y'all to remember when you're trying to establish time management for yourself. But before we get started, like I said, if you enjoy this podcast, if it is adding value to your life, if there's something that resonates for you and is helpful and applicable to your day-to-day life, please leave a 5-star review and do a little write-up about what you like about the show. And tell your friends, and we are giving a good message here, and we want to make sure that the word gets spread. And we want this content in as many people's lives as possible. So please, if you gained any value from this, please pass on the word. And like I said, leave a 5-star review. So today's topic is time management. And I'm not going to get into all of these different tips that people give for time management. You've seen them all before, writing it down, putting it in a calendar, setting an alarm to do it, planning your meals or planning your workouts. But if you want to be successful with time management, it's always about, and this is the therapist in me, it always goes back to your core beliefs about what it is that you're trying to accomplish. Because if we want to manage time, it's all about our self-talk about what we are trying to manage our time for. What are we trying to fit in? Because it's all about our mindset about that goal that we have. That's going to dictate whether we budget the time properly or not and manage our time properly or not. Put it this way. If you want something badly enough, you will find a way to manage your time accordingly. I think back to the times we're in college, and you've got guys that are really their only priorities were smoking weed and drinking beer. And when it came to smoking weed, if someone had a little bit of weed, they might not have had anything to smoke it out of. But all of a sudden, you see guys turn into fucking MacGyver when they want to find a way to smoke that weed. They'll use a Coke can, a rubber band, whatever it is that they can find, and somehow or another they find a way to smoke that weed. And it's the same thing with time management. If we want to get something done, if we really, really want to get healthier, if we want to work out, if we want to eat better, we find a way to get the time. It's the same thing with people in relationships. If people want a girlfriend or boyfriend badly enough, or if they want to get laid, the amount of effort that people make in terms of finding ways to get laid, whether it's the time they spend on social media or on dating sites or sending texts or making phone calls or sending gifts or flowers or whatever it might be. They're busy, but they find a way because that's important enough for them. So if it's really important enough for you, you find a couple minutes here and there to plan, to work towards the goal. And you put other things in your life like watching Game of Thrones or Ray Donovan or whatever show it is that you're watching, or Shameless. You put that on the back burner. You put beers with your friends or golf on the back burner. Golf is good exercise if you're actually walking it, but if you're using a cart, you're probably not getting quite as much exercise, but that's another story for another time. But bottom line, folks, is this. I guarantee you, you will be a happier person when you are working towards that goal that whatever it is that you're shooting for. 75 hard is a difficult task, but it's made me happier. Is it easy? Hell no, it's not easy. And I'm not religious, but I remember in religion class growing up, when I saw there was a sign that we had in the religion center said, "Don't pray for an easy life, but pray to be a strong person." And that resonates with me still. We don't want things to be easy. We want to be able to be true to ourselves. You hear me say, be good to yourselves all the time. You'll hear me say it at the end of my podcasts. You'll hear me say it at the end of my video posts. When I say be good to yourself, I'm not saying be nice to yourself. I'm not saying spoil yourself and go to the spa or have somebody row you down the river, feeding you grapes and fanning you off, or sit on your ass in front of the TV eating bonbons. That's not what I'm talking about when I say be good to yourselves. Maybe after you've accomplished something big, every now and then you do those things to pamper yourself, but that's not what I'm saying. Be good to yourselves means doing something that's going to be for your own betterment. It means going down the rabbit hole that you haven't gone down before to confront issues that you've been avoiding your entire life. It means getting yourself to the point of getting comfortable, being uncomfortable because you need to level up, and the only way to do it is to do hard shit. So when I'm saying be good to yourself, I'm saying put yourself in those situations where you're going to have a chance to level up. Maybe it's surrounding yourself with the people that can help you to level up. Surrounding yourself with people that do something better than what you do, or maybe have more money than you do, or whatever it is, they're more established in doing whatever it is, whatever circle that you want to be in, or whatever skill that you want to develop. But we don't get better hanging out with people that don't do something as well as us. We got to make ourselves uncomfortable and put ourselves in those situations to get challenged, because that's where you're going to raise your game. And when it comes to time management, it's the same thing. If you want it badly enough, then you will alter your schedule. Yes, we are creatures of habit. We like things to be predictable. And we need to be able to get out of that comfort zone if we want, just like the definition of insanity says, if we want different results, you have to take different actions. One of the reasons that we are going to be happier here, not just because we're heading towards something, that we have a goal, we feel like we have momentum, but if you've ever read The Four Agreements, great book, highly recommend for anybody. If you haven't read it, go read it. But one of the agreements is to be impeccable with your word. And when we are working towards a challenge, like in the past when I've been training for an Ironman, or when I was studying recently to become a personal trainer, or doing 75 hard, when you feel yourself on that path and you're checking off the boxes and the things that you need to do to level up and get closer to that goal, it's invigorating. And what makes you happy is the fact that you are being impeccable to your word because you're being true to yourself. The promises that you made to yourself about what you were going to do, you're taking action. I'm on day 44, 75 hard right now, and I'm ecstatic about it. And because I've been true to my word about what I said I was going to set out to do. And it's probably the longest amount of time I've ever done something like this and had the kind of willpower and motivation. And guess what? I wouldn't be talking to you on this podcast right now if it weren't for this challenge. I wouldn't have had the courage to be here talking to you guys, talking so that anybody could hear my thoughts. My thoughts could be shared across cyberspace and across the world. I wouldn't be in the better physical shape that I am. I wouldn't be taking risks. I wouldn't have even been motivated enough to fight through. I'm technologically impaired, folks. I wouldn't have even been, and I don't really have the budget to hire all kinds of tech support to set this up for me, so I had to do it the old-fashioned way, which all of you can do is go on YouTube, go on Google. Between Google and YouTube, you can look up how to do almost anything. And with the exception of a couple of quick questions to some friends, I've been able to set up the technology and start my own podcast by myself, which, was I frightened of doing it? Sure as shit I was. But it was important enough for me to do. And within a short amount of time, I was up and running. Is my technology perfect? No. Do I still have perfect sound? Do I have perfect sound at this point? Do I have that set up? No. But it's getting worked out. And that brings to mind the other point that I said have had before with you guys, which is imperfect action is better than no action at all. Let me finish that other point I had before. So being impeccable with your word, you're being true to yourself. And if you're being true to yourself, you're not living in this cognitive dissonance where you have this one belief about something that you want. I want to be healthy. I want to be in shape. I want to be ripped. But you're having inconsistent behaviors because you're still sitting on the couch eating Cheetos and ice cream and pizza and doing something that's totally incongruent with that goal. On 75 Hard for 44 days, my actions and my attitudes have been right on point. So even though I'm exhausted by the end of each day, even though it's tough to pass up fried foods and pizza and ice cream and Coke and beer and wine, it's worthwhile because I know I'm being true to myself and I know I'm being impeccable with my word. And then you do it once, you do it for this amount of time. After 75 days, things get closer to being a habit. It might not be a habit yet. I mean, that's up to whoever you want to ask how long it takes doing a behavior for it to really become a habit. But at 75 days, it's a hell of a lot closer to being a habit than it was before. So, but you have this, if you commit these ideas to your mindset going forward, then all the strategies, that you can read online for, how to manage time or how to prioritize and everything else, I'm not going to go into that. I'm not going to reinvent the wheel for you guys. You've read that stuff. You can go look it up online. You can go Google it. I'm not going to reinvent that because all of those things are a moot point if your mindset, if your core belief about what it is that you're trying to accomplish isn't there. But basically, if your mindset is in the right place, if you want it badly enough, all of a sudden you're going to find that you have darts getting set on the board. Like I said, any movement is better than no movement at all. Have the dart on the board. Have small short-term goals that do end up on your calendar. Have them set. Have them in your calendar as part of your day, something that's as automatic as eating breakfast, lunch, and dinner and going to work. Or in your daily calendar as your commutes. It's going to be just as much of a necessity. And if you do this, if it is your priority, if it's important enough that, like I said, you don't have that cognitive dissonance anymore and you're willing to do whatever it takes, you're sacrificing those minutes, you're sacrificing all those things that are little wants in your life, but they aren't needs. You know what else is going to happen in your calendar? All of a sudden that day that's known as someday, that we always say, but someday usually, almost always, never seems to come. All of a sudden, someday is going to be there. It's going to start showing up. It's going to start showing up tomorrow and the day after that and the week after that. All of those things that you said you were going to do, 75 Hard, or reading that book, or working those extra hours, or getting that extra training. And then if you get good enough at the time management and you set the goals, that car or that boat that you said you were going to do, you're going to start managing your time well enough to understand that you need to have benchmarks in terms of how much money that you're going to have to save each month, each week, each day. And then you're going to get that car or that boat. And you're going to have that money for that vacation. And you're going to schedule that vacation because it's important enough to you. And you're willing to make the sacrifice. That's one of the biggest things with 75 Hard that struck the chord with me. I've always been someone that's been able to do more. Yeah, I'll work more. I'll pay more. I'll exercise more. But sometimes it's a matter of sacrificing the things that you already have been doing because there's only so many hours in the day. And sometimes it's the things that you're doing versus not doing that are the most hazardous for you. Take your diet, for instance. You cannot out-train a bad diet. I tried, trust me. I tried for, goodness gracious, 6 years of doing triathlon, thinking that doing all that steady state cardio and training for Ironmans and going for 5 to 6 hour bike rides, that I could eat whatever I wanted to. And it doesn't work that way. Now with 75 Hard, I'm working out for an hour and a half a day and losing a lot more weight and getting more toned than I ever have. Do I have a ways to go? Yes, I'm not going to be Mr. Olympia anytime soon, but I look, and more importantly, I feel a hell of a lot better. So put these time management, set the dart on the board and go. Procrastination is something that plagues us, and procrastination comes from wishing and hoping and obsessing and wanting. And all we do is wait because we don't think that it's the right time. We don't think that we have the exact right resources. And so we wait and we wish, wish in one hand and, well, I won't go into that. You know what in the other, and see what fills up first. That's what's going to happen when you procrastinate and all you do is wish. Action is what's going to get things done. And things may not be perfect. Your diet may not be perfect. Your workouts may not be perfect. You might not be able to necessarily meet the exact goal in terms of the reps or your frequency, intensity, or duration of the workouts that you set for yourself. But you're coming a hell of a lot closer to them. And if you're just sitting on the sidelines in your constant deep state of contemplation, there's not any dignity in constant contemplation about something if it's not followed by any kind of action. And the other part of the procrastination is, if it seems big, if it seems overwhelming, you divide and conquer. The term papers, the getting the big car, the big boat, or the big vacation, and getting the money to do that. All those things is a long chain of behaviors. So we break up that long chain of behaviors into smaller groups of links or maybe individual links until they become weekly and daily goals, and we eat that elephant one bite at a time. And if you can do that, then you can fit it into your time each day. You can find a couple minutes here, you can find a couple minutes there. Something that's really important to you, whether it's keeping in touch with your family, whether it's eating better, whether it's getting in workouts. You can get more exercise each day just with the regular activities of daily living. Goggins talked about a plan that you could do during the day where every time you walk through a door frame, you got down and do 5 push-ups. People look at you funny? Who cares? You do 5 push-ups every time you walk in and out of a room each day. That's a shit ton of push-ups. Take the stairs. Walk to the store instead of driving over there. Walk across the parking lot. When you go to Walmart, park as far away as you possibly can. If the weather's shitty, go to the mall and walk end to end from the wall, one of the mall to the other. Walk from Dillard's on one end to Macy's at the other and back. If you want to do it, there is a way. The same way you put all that energy into getting laid, all that energy into finding a way to go out on Friday night, all that energy into finding a way to smoke your weed. If you want to get fit, you can find a way here. And if you do that, then the time management part and the ways to manage your time will be easy. I don't have to go through and tell you all the lists and steps and the 25 steps that you see online when you Google time management. It's getting your core beliefs right. It's the same way if I want to treat someone for depression. If the person doesn't change their core beliefs about themselves, about the world, and about the future, then everything else it's not going to resonate with them. As long as your goal that you're trying to manage time for is something that's intrinsically valuable to you, you'll find a way. And as soon as it's not intrinsically valuable to you, you're only going to do it if there's some sort of external reward or monetary reward, and it will not sustain. So, everybody meditate on that over the course of your next week or however long that you are going to have it resonate with you. That's all I got for now. Once again, if you're gaining value, then please leave a 5-star review. Got lots more episodes coming your way very soon with some guests for the show, and I look forward to having them on and giving you a chance to learn from them and learning from them myself, and this is going to be a very rewarding endeavor. As always, folks, take care and be good to yourselves.